Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're an oldie but a goodie, welcome back. We're on the weekend of week 5, so if you like watching these kind of videos, keep on watching. We are snowed in. We are snowed in. Snowed in. You see that, right? Well, you see the dogs playing in the snow. But we had snow all last night. It was snowing up to this morning, and about 1 inch of snow. The chickens are all fine, rabbits are fine, everybody is fine. Everyone has survived, including us. But today we have an agenda going. Here's the microgreens. It's been a week, so now I'm just letting them get a little bit green. As you can see, they're attempting to get to the window because that's where it actually is. So I wet it one more time. Now I let it without the black cover over it, because now I want them to get nice and green, and the only way they can do that is with the sun. So we're gonna leave them here for now, and then sometime maybe tomorrow I will put them in a baggie and put them, oh, that was a fruit fly, and put them in a baggie and in the freezer. Today, I'm making my banana bread. Oh, you probably can't see that. Sorry. We're making the banana bread. As you can see, I'm still tweaking it. So, I put the ingredients on there wherever I found it. And then I keep erasing and tweaking as I go. So is the one in the back. Until we get the perfect banana bread. And then once I find the perfect banana bread, we put it in our recipe book. So Lexi and I have a recipe book that we share, and we're able to fix the recipes if we need to, basically. So this recipe counts for, I will put it on the screen if I remember, don't get mad at me. Alright, it was different from the one I have on the piece of paper because I've been updating my Yaya cookbook. Not for sale, sorry, it's for the grandkids. But it's 1 stick of salted butter, 2 tablespoons of milk, 1 cup of brown sugar. And if you don't have brown sugar, then it's obviously 1 cup of white sugar with a tablespoon of molasses, or you can use half a cup of honey. So those are your options. Then you have 1 tablespoon of vanilla, 2 eggs, 2 mashed potatoes, 2 mashed bananas, 2 to 3 depending on how much flavor you want of banana. Then if you want a tangy flavor, which is what we're going to do today. So I'm doing the option of honey with the half a cup of sourdough starter discard that I have, because I need to start a new starter for next week for bread because we have half a loaf left. I'm gonna add the half cup of sourdough starter. Where am I? Half a cup of sourdough starter. I forgot to put cup on the recipe. Then 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, and then half a teaspoon of nutmeg. We use a lot of cinnamon because cinnamon is good for blood pressure and is good for lowering your blood sugars. So I add a little bit more of the cinnamon, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, and the walnuts are optional. So this is a lot, so I will put it in the bottom, not on the screen. And let me get started. Alright guys, I tried to get as much prep as I could. I wanted to show you my new obsession called the bread maker. So I had this for years. Lexi gave it to me a while ago, and I don't use it to bake anything in it because I don't like the shape of it. So that's the reason why I stopped using it, was because of the way the shape looks on the inside of this dome. But it's great to mix. So it's great to mix and to get your stuff to rise because it has a leave-in dough, a mix, and a knead if you need it to. So that's what I use it for, and that's what I've been using it for. I get to see you guys while I'm doing this. So we're gonna do that in the machine today. We're gonna chop up. So I got my 2 eggs. You know I got fresh eggs, so I need to wash them and make sure they're not bad, and clearly they're not. They're good eggs. I got the walnuts here. I got all my measuring stuff. I got the melted butter. So you're supposed to put first all your wet ingredients according to the machine instruction itself, and then you put all your dry ingredients on top. The way the order goes is then the last things you want to put is your baking powder and your baking soda last on top of the flour. So we're gonna put all of this stuff first with the wet ingredients. Let me get the milk. Look at that. Even though I was organized, I'm still not organized. What? I'm telling you, it's not meant to be. Okay. Alright, you see how I'm always tweaking the recipe? I totally forgot about the allspice. So I'm gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon because allspice is very potent. So we're gonna do a 1/4 teaspoon of the allspice. And then, so I did the allspice, I did the salt, the nutmeg, and the cinnamon, right? Now we're gonna let this stir again. Who's beeping? We're gonna mix it again. 14. For 15 more minutes. Let mix the cinnamon, the nutmeg, and all that stuff. Let me put this. Alright, so I put just enough to leave me about a quarter cup of the starter, and then now I'm just gonna add 2 tablespoons because I'm starting fresh with a new starter. I do 2 tablespoons and maybe 1 of water. Actually, I do have another jar in the barn. So I need to put this one to wash. But
it's the sun.
It is not the sun. Alright, so I will try to go get the jar from the barn, because we do have to go over there to bring some containers over that I brought for the freezer because the containers I had broke.
This is the middle of winter.
And let's see. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. So we'll go get that later, and then I'll just transfer over because I gotta feed it again this afternoon. So when you're first starting your starter, you need to feed it twice the first day, and then after that I feed it once a week. Not that you have to, that's what I do, but I'm sure you do know not to contaminate it with your fingers. Need the spatula. I know it looks ugly on the top, but if you wipe it with your fingers, you're contaminating your starter. So this really quick, I'll leave a few just to throw on top. I will be baking this bread in the oven because once again I hate the shape that the bread maker makes. It makes no sense to me, but obviously the settings on it is great. Yesterday we made pizza dough in it, and it did the rise, the kneading, everything it needed to, because all the settings are there. So that's what I like about it. For that concept anyways. So if you're looking for a mixer, don't bother. Get yourself a bread maker. So let's see. We'll do half of this in here. We don't want a lot of nuts, just a little bit. And then we're gonna close it up, plug it in, set it and forget it. And because this thing has sourdough starter in it, I'm gonna do the process twice. So the process will happen, does an hour and a half. So I'm gonna do it twice. So that brings this up to 3 hours. So that's when I'll start baking it, after the second setting of the 3 hours is done. This will be for the top. I will be doing this in a bigger pan. Put this away. Let me show you what it looked like. Check it out. Let me see your shadow. Sorry. Here we go. Alright guys, it stopped snowing. Looks so bright. So we're gonna go spend some time in the barn. See if I crack some loofahs. get some seeds out. I thought about selling my seeds, but I don't know. I love doing all that stuff, but once it becomes work, that's when you hate it, right? So I don't want to hate it. But I do need my greenhouse, so I am going to crack the loofahs, try to save the seeds. What else? I need to clean out the greenhouse, and then we need to move it from the workshop to obviously the storage area. Let's see how the heat held up. Alright, it's nice and warm in here. According to the temperature gauge, is 47. So let me put you here. Ow, that was my finger. Alright, so here we are in the barn. These are the ones we purchased. I liked them because they were red, but they're very flimsy. See, they all cracked. Have actually held up very good. And these were from the dollar store too. This is another one that had cracked. Okay, now if you never cracked a loofah before, join the club. Me neither. Alright, so from what I understand is technically it's supposed to just crack and peel. Let's see. I just don't want to. You hear that? That's all seeds. I probably don't have the actual strength to do this. I'm gonna bring you with me. Now, oh yeah, this is gonna make a mess. We're definitely not doing this in here today. Ooh-wee. Maybe I can just dust out the seeds, but we're definitely not cracking this in here. Don't forget, I don't have no ventilation in here. So if anything becomes dusty, that's something that I'm breathing in, and that's something I don't want to do. So what I'm gonna do is crack the bottom, check out the loofah part, which is a sponge. You can see it. And I'll peel them when the weather gets nice outside. But as long as I take out the seed, maybe I can start bagging them and trying to sell them. Oh, yeah. And you need gloves, because this is some hard stuff. So I'm just going to do that right now. I'm going to crack them and pull out the seeds, and then leave the rest for another day. Not for nothing, people, but back in the day when I was growing up, when parents were parents and kids were kids, I just got PTSD from like kneeling on this ground. And for you people who were born between the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, you know exactly what I mean. But those were some good old memories. And for those that don't know what I'm talking about, I only got 2 words for you: kneeling and rice for the PTSD. But I think my dad was preparing me for this moment, because guess what? I don't feel nothing. Thank you, Poppy. Thank you. He made my knees tough. Alright guys, here's all the seed that I got from all them loofahs. I still have like, I think 10 loofahs that got real moldy. And those I left because I'm not about to be locked up in here with mold. So I picked up the best ones. As you can see, we do have different shades of the loofah seed. Clearly, the black one means they were very mature when the seed started building. And then the brown ones, I don't think these will work because they were too young. So I do have to separate them, keep obviously the pitch black ones, and eliminate these little ones. I'll probably give them to the chickens or something to munch on. So that being said, I am gonna do that. I'm gonna bring these inside the house so I can start the separation process. That'll be a job that I can do eventually whenever I'm bored or when weather does not permit to do anything outside. I do have brown bags that I can put the seeds in before I decide what I'm gonna do. I do have, here's the loofahs that didn't have a lot of mold in them or didn't have any mold. 12, 13, 14, 15, about 18 that look okay so far. But don't forget, we gotta peel them and wash them, and then we'll be able to tell whether or not they're any good. This is my first time doing this. I've never done this before. I do have to do my research. From my understanding, I can sew these together and use them as like a sponge to wash dishes. You just have to hang them to dry so they can get hard again. The same thing with you bathing, like you can use it for your bathing. And then the same thing, you just have to hang it to dry. So the purpose of doing this is so I don't have to buy any more sponges. As you know, you wash dishes, you take baths, and all that is an expense that I would like to eliminate if I can. And if this works out, hey, I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I know I can cut these in little rounds and make soap out of them. So let's go back to the house, shall we? Alright guys, we're transferring the sourdough starter into a clean jar. I can't find my other sourdough jar, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it in this one and wash this one, and then once it's ready I'll just throw it back in here. So all you need is a spatula. Okay, clearly a new lid because this needs to be washed as well. And as you can see, this one was already starting to bubble from this morning. And all you gotta do is dump it in the new jar. And that's basically it. As you guys know, you're not supposed to scrape with your fingers. That's what the spatula is for. And I don't bake often with the sourdough starter. I mean, we do our usual bread every weekend, and I switch it between regular bread and like banana bread or some kind of sweet bread. And then, so I don't need a huge jar of starter. Usually a starter gives me enough to do all kinds of stuff. I don't need a big jar. So I can even keep using, you know, this jar. This is just a regular white jar. I can continue using this one. I don't even need to use the bigger jar. I want to say I've never used more than probably half of this. So it has gone as far as this high, and I'll use it down to like down here and then start the process all over, because each line here gives me like about a cup of starter. So put this stuff to wash. Now, because I did put it in this new jar, I am gonna feed it again. But this time I'm feeding it one. Actually, you want pancakes for breakfast tomorrow?
Yep.
Hubby wants pancakes, so I'm gonna feed it 2 tablespoons and then 1 squirt of room temperature water, just so I can start and we can make pancakes tomorrow. Let me get the water. I clean it with the spatula, the inside, the top, as much as I can. And room temperature water. And then we're gonna stir it up, do its thing. Check it out. See how it's bubbling? That means it's still alive. And it smells very vinegary, bitter kind of smell. So this is a really good starter that I got going on. And I think I made a video on how I started it. So now I can scrape the sides with my fingers. I just can't scrape the top because of the fact that it will cross-contaminate. And then now let me go get a lid, cover it up. I'm still going to keep the same date of 1/12 because that's when I actually started this starter. Okay, so the only thing I do like is the rubber band that you get to put around it, because then that tells you whether or not it's rising. I started this starter with dark rye flour. So I put, to start it off, you get the activation of the starter. So that's why it's very vinegary smell. You can get the same concept with just all-purpose flour. I've done that before. But since I don't have a strong starter, I decided to buy the rye. And this is the only one I can find that is small enough. I mean, you can bake bread with this. I just don't like the taste of it. It's very weedy. Hubby might like it. This is an all whole grain dark rye flour. So I started it with just 1 tablespoon of this. And then I did the 1 tablespoon of water. Then I fed it again that afternoon with the 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour. And then I did the 1 tablespoon of water. Then I waited. The next day I did 2 tablespoons of the all-purpose flour in the morning. Fed it in the morning with the 2. Then I did a 1 ratio in the afternoon. And then after that, I do the 1 tablespoon every single day of all-purpose flour. I only used this when I first started it, just so it can be strong. But the stronger I feed this and it continues to live, the better, because this becomes stronger. Do your own research. Because I don't know what I'm doing, clearly. That's what I always say. I do these videos for my insanity, not yours. So I don't tighten the top either. I let air obviously breathe in there, so I don't tighten it all the way. And then we're just gonna put it somewhere nice and warm. Warm brings your starter to life. Oh, the bread thingy is done. We get to do it again. So I'll see you guys later. All right, guys, we are back. The dough is done. This is what I made yesterday. I had leftover pizza dough, so I'm making garlic sticks for dinner. I am putting the dough into the pan. Alright, now we're gonna take the sprinkled walnuts, sprinkle away on the top. Alright, so we got the oven at 350. We're gonna put that in there. I'm making a dome for 30 minutes. I'm gonna bake it with the heat with another layer of the same dome for 30 minutes. Then I'm gonna take a peek and then bake it for another 15-20 minutes. So this should help it rise, steam, that kind of good stuff. But I forgot to show you that I went to the greenhouse, the barn, and got my domes. So I have this dome that goes, they're all universal. They're from the farmer, Bootstrap Farmer, and they're all universal. These are 10-20 size. And then I put the one that holds more water. I knew I had them, so I switched over the red to the orange, which is a little bit bigger, and I just picked up the tray with all the jars or with all the containers and then put the dome in. And then here's the red ones, and then the other one is here. So now I should be able to put more water when I'm watering. I'm just gonna wash these and put them back in the barn. These, I tend to use them more in the summer because I can just water them from above with the hose. But they don't hold a lot of water. So for the beginning, it's no bueno. But I couldn't find the other ones. So, but now I got them. So the other thing I did was I did put my sweet potatoes right with the light, so it can grow much faster. And as you can see, I'm getting more actual roots in the plants. The other thing is I did leave these getting some sun, and as you can see, some of the leaves are turning green. Tomorrow I will wash them off and put them in the freezer, actually. Tomorrow will be my 7th day? I don't remember. But that's it for today. Thank you for watching. God bless. Don't forget to subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. And I will see you guys on the next one.